We get started with Professor Joseph Nana. Professor Nana is the chief economist at the Development Bank of Nigeria. He contends that SMMEs are the backbone of any economy, accounting for 60 to 70% of the GDP of our nation. Professor Nana indicates that only 31% of micro, small, and medium enterprises, the so-called MSMEs, have ever obtained a loan from a financial institution in Nigeria. Let's listen to Professor Joseph Nana.
Entitled Real Sector Constraints to Economic Growth and Development is in fact apropos given the present state of the economy. However, I'm here to speak on contemporary strategies for financial inclusion and prosperity in Nigeria. It is therefore noteworthy that micro, small, and medium enterprises are the backbone of any economy. Considering this segment makes up over 90% of all firms and accounts for an average of 60 to 70% of total employment and roughly 50% of the nation's gross domestic product. A survey in 2018 by the International Finance Corporation revealed that only 31% of MSMEs in Nigeria have ever obtained a loan from a financial institution, commercial or microfinance bank. The principal reason for the low figure, in spite of the indubitable impact in the economy, include high or lack of collateral, problem with credit history, unfavorable interest rate, tenor on loans, and so on. You see, as a result, lending in aggregate has been concentrated to sectors where tangible assets are easily accessible. In 2018, 22.74% of total credit was allocated to the oil and gas sector, and 13.75% was allocated to the manufacturing sector. Conversely, sectors where the MSME participants operate include agriculture, which total credit allocated was a paltry 3.16%. General trade and commerce, 6.89%. And education, which credit to the sector remained subdued, received 0.41%.
Continuing, he supports a good measure of lending to MSMEs, suggesting that a lack of lending can severely constrain opportunities to economic diversification in Nigeria. Professor Nana also says that much government borrowing tends to create a crowding out effect on MSMEs.
Now, regrettably, limited access to finance to the MSME segment severely constrain opportunities for economic diversification in Nigeria. From a macroeconomic examination, there's a crowded out effect due to government borrowing. As a result, over a period of 1 year, we have witnessed an increase in Treasury bill rates, peaking at 18% in 2017. At the same time, banks facing challenging external environment work to reduce risks, crowding out liquidity to the real sector, including the MSMEs. Presently, Treasury bill rates have declined to 12.7%. However, yields on government bonds are around 14.5%, making it still very attractive to lend to the government. Typically, Nigerian banks observe a value chain business model that deals with already established firms with a track record of success. Consequently, banks tend to ignore MSMEs because of poor or no credit history, insufficient collateral, to name a few reasons. To that effect, Nigerian banks resort to what they know and understand to be a safe investment choice, which is competing for larger firms and accepting lower margins only to exploit higher yields earned from credit and perhaps other fees earned through product offerings as part of the loan agreements.
Dr. Mutiola Olashipo, a key lecturer in the Faculty of Political Science and International Relations at the University of Abuja, focuses on the importance and significance of leadership for human capital development. Here is Dr. Olashipo.
When we talk about leadership, leadership is a system that drives, organizes, decides about how to use the natural and material resources for the attainment of stipulated goals of the society. One of these goals is when society is in need of leadership, it is for it to be saved, to be secured, to be protected from the brink of destruction. Today, Nigeria is in dire need of efficient, effective, and efficacious leadership. And that is why we have to look inward to get these leadership styles so that we'll be able to use it to empower ourselves for human capital development that we need. So leadership could be seen as a process by which a person influences others to accomplish these noble objectives. The human capital is not something that is magical. It is not a rocket science. It's something that you need to discover by yourself. When you have been given a right and an enabling environment, will make you to discover this.
He talks about how we can develop human capital through functional and qualitative education. He insists that Nigeria has not been able to invest positively and appropriately in education. Let's listen to him.
Human capital development includes appropriate, functional, and qualitative education. And this is where we got it extremely wrong in this country. We have neglected the roles education plays in human capital development. We have not been able to invest appropriately in our education sector. This is so because educational sector has been neglected over the years by the successful administration, and they have not been able to invest positively, appropriately in education. So in that aspect, human capital development is suffering. And without education, the basic needs of education, then it will be very difficult to impart human capital development.
Dr. Akeem Oyerinde of the Faculty of Crop Protection at the University of Abuja states that agriculture employs about 70% of our population. Here is Dr. Oyerinde.
There is no controversy about it that agri employs over 70% of our population. That record has not changed. Foreign exchange earning, apart from oil, agri carry 50% of what contributes to our GDP. Foreign exchange earning. The main alternative to our dwindling economy, the present government have identified that the only way you can diversify our economy is to do what? Is to go back to basics and go back to agriculture.
He contends that the main driver to overcome our dwindling economy should be agriculture, and insists that to diversify our economy, we need to go back to agriculture. He also talks about how to get access to capital, making mention of the federal government's economic recovery and growth plan to assist production of locally produced goods. Let's listen to Dr. Oyerinde.
If you are well-to-do and you have a formidable group, you have access to finance. Let me leak this secret to you. NISA has some money for student group that want to go into agripreneurship. So you can capitalize on that. If you go to NISA, NISA has offices all over Nigeria, and if the closest, the main head office is in Abuja here in Maitama. So if you have an agri group, it does not mean you should read agri. If you have a group that is into agripreneurship, you can approach them and you get source of one, and capital will not be your problem. There can never be a development in any investment if you don't have adequate capital.